This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today, Blue Pill, Red Pill is what I wanted to, a way I wanted to communicate the message today. However, that's very Matrix orientated. Hey, I mean, if you haven't seen The Matrix, you should. It's my favorite documentary, I'm going to actually expand on that. The Matrix side of Blue Pill, Red Pill another time. I find it very interesting. I think it's worth delving into. However, using that as a concept today for a quote that I saw, and the quote was interesting. And I'll expand on why it's interesting. Obviously, it's what I do. And it's by Henry Parks, and it says, "In one hand I have a dream, and in the other I have an obstacle. Tell me, which one grabs your attention?" So the fact that they're in two hands gives me the red pill, blue pill idea. But let's have a look at this. So in one hand is the dream, and the other is an obstacle. Which one grabs your attention? So my partner and I had a conversation. It would have been a couple of months ago now, and it was around Easter actually. That's when it was. And I had the opportunity. I went and purchased a brand effectively. And this is a brand that really means a lot to me, and I'm really looking forward to working with it and doing more with it. And straight away, she was like, "We can do this and run these sort of educational seminars on a larger scale," and sort of it was just getting like, she was already putting numbers in for what we'd have to pay people and their flights, in how much we'd have to charge for the tickets. So like, for example, running it in England. And I'm like, whoa, we're just, it's so far ahead, right? That I'm like, there is so many things that you're missing. There is just so many things that you're missing. We had a decent argument about it at the time. And of course, I'm not immune to that at all. This is, though, the perfect example of someone that can see the dream and someone that sees the obstacle. Excuse me. Now, the other thing about it, though, is that this also feeds into a metaprogram or a thinking pattern, which sort of, it will speak to either best case scenario or worst case scenario, or pessimism and optimism, right? And once again, it's not about each one being better than the other. In today's climate, we really put so much weight on positivism, right? This positivism, the bit positivity, this best case scenario, dream big, think big, all this sort of stuff. And we're really being quite, like, we're putting a shadow over negative or worst case scenario thinking, or any sort of pessimism, right? And people do this, and they're, I think I mentioned this in podcast recently, where someone was like, fucking no negative vibes, like leave that shit at the door, and I only accept positivity. And I was like, I very rarely ever comment on anything, but I knew this person, I knew they would take it lightly, and I simply said, "It sounds like you're being really negative towards negativity." And the thing about it is that we can't be positive without being negative, right? They go hand in hand. They're both really useful. They're not positive and negative in the positive and negative sense. It's more so looking at both. We can't have positive without having it. It's like having only one side of a coin. We can't have one side of a coin because it presupposes there's another fucking side, and they're both useful. So what it is really our ability to be able to see both and pay attention to both, not just do one. If we just go full optimism and go down that best case scenario, we can really leave ourselves vulnerable and open and naive. If we go down the other path and just go full pessimism, then we never really allow ourselves to move towards what's truly important to us. And we can be a real drain on ourselves and society. And it's probably not how we really want to act and behave. It's like, it's just easier to do that this far into our life, because accepting the other side is too painful for us to realize how wrong we've been for so long, because we're so pessimistic that we're always right? Because if look, it's there's no point in going because of X of what might happen, and here is safe, so I'll just do this. Is the pessimistic way of thinking, and that can become very draining. And so what it is, it allows us to have this balance. It's not about just having the dream in one hand and obstacles in the other. It's about being able to really see both, right? And keep that dream front of mind, whatever your dream is. And this is why it's like, if you look at your goal and your dream, and the first thing that comes to mind is this external authority, what other people might think, or other people might shut you down, or it won't make your father happy, or something like that, then there's something there to work through, and it can be worked through. And I've done it multiple times with people, and I've had to do it with myself as well. And it's really common. It's common in anyone at any age. I've seen it in all sorts of ages and all sorts of people. But the thing about it is, if that's the first thing with your dream, then you're never really going to go after your dream. You're always going to go after somebody else's dream, or what you think somebody else's dream is for you. And so you become a vehicle of thought of what you think other people might think of you, whether it be your father or your mother or some other figure, right? And the interesting thing around all of that is the ability for us personally to step back and go, what is it that I want to do with my life? And people go, but that's really selfish. It's like, can you not hear that you trying to behave in a way that's going to make someone else happy is selfish for the other person, right? But also selfish because you think that that's going to make them love you, right? That you're going to be safe because of that. Isn't that selfish? Like, once again, we can't be selfish and without being selfless at the same time. And so the ability is to be able to move away from that style of thinking and go, what's truly important to me, and what's truly important to the other people around me, and what am I responsible for, and what am I not responsible for? And a lot of the time, somebody else's happiness is not your responsibility. I shared a post recently on Facebook, Instagram rather, and it was somebody posted, it was Will Smith said it or whatever. But it spoke really, really true to that point. It says, Will Smith said, her happiness is not my responsibility. She should be happy and I should be happy individually. Then we come together and share our happiness. Giving someone a responsibility, this is the fucking point to take home. Giving someone a responsibility to make you happy when you can't do it for yourself is selfish, right? Can you hear that? And so the whole thing here is looking at what's truly our responsibility so we can stay and live in healthy responsibility, not over-responsible for somebody else's insecurities. So you're not being responsible for your life as based upon somebody else's expectations of you, because that's over-responsible for their happiness. That's their fucking job. And the longer you continue to take that away from that person, the longer that person stays in immaturity. And it's really fucking hard because there's so many relationships and so many dynamics in our lives that are on the balance of this that it's challenging. But one day at a time, one conversation at a time, one thought at a time, we can change this sort of behavior. Now, it happens maybe in clients, maybe it happens in a relationship, maybe it happens with our family. Whatever the case might be, is that this in itself is an obstacle that can stop us in our tracks for what's truly important for our dreams. And sometimes dreams become a bit of a wishy-washy subject, but that's not the point. It's simply looking at it and going, what do I want to do with this one life I was gifted? And there's a number above your head, and it's counting down, and you have no idea of that number. You can't see it. You don't know. But the reality is that that's it. And then when that number goes to zero, you'll probably get put in the ground. And there'll be 2 dates, and in between those 2 dates will be a dash. And that dash will represent your life. So you have to think really fucking hard about what you want that little dash to represent. And then live according to that. And on that note, team, I'm done. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you found this podcast beneficial. Now, if you know someone who you think would also find a lot of benefit in this podcast and in many others, it would really mean the world to me if you would share it with them. If you do share this on Instagram, make sure you tag me at DDNix. I'd love to reshare it, and thank you. Otherwise, make sure you join the conversation on Move Prep Online. It's a free Facebook group. You can join there by searching it on Facebook. Otherwise, team, that's me done for today. Until tomorrow. Peace and pizza, kick today in the dick, and slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
Happiness to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.